Hi, I'm Juliet McGuire and welcome to another episode of How to Buy a Used Car, which is exclusive to Cars.co.za's YouTube channel. Now, you might notice that I'm in full athleisure wear, right? Which is like a parent's stock standard uniform. And that's because I'm going to focus on the Volkswagen Tiguan today. You may not have known this, but in 2021, I became a mom. And all of a sudden, besides my world being flipped upside down, I started to look at cars a little bit differently. Because when you're buying a car as a parent, all you're really interested in is space. And obviously safety features and ISOFIX, but oh my goodness, you need more space. So I'm going to be focusing on a used Volkswagen Tiguan, which might just be right for your family.
Cars.co.za. Power slide into the DMs. WhatsApp the dealer directly from our site. Less phone calls, less awkward.
This Tiguan debuted at the International Motor Show in Frankfurt back in 2015, but it took more than a year for it to arrive in South Africa. Now, this generation came with more technology, it looked better, it was more spacious, and it upped its safety levels, so much so that it received a 5-star Euro NCAP rating. But I think my favorite thing about this generation was that it was also introduced as the All-Space, which had a longer wheelbase and 3 rows of seats. I think every parent in the universe, well, you could hear them rejoicing. At the launch in August of 2016, there was only a 1.4-litre 4-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine in 2 states of tune. It was either a 92 kilowatt, which was mated to a 6-speed manual, or 110 kilowatt, which was mated to a 6-speed dual clutch transmission. They were front-wheel driven, and you could either get Trendline or Comfortline. But by March 2017, it had increased to 7 derivatives. And that was like a trio of diesels and a 2-litre TSI, which actually was the engine found in the Golf GTI. And that was all-wheel driven and mated to a 7-speed DSG transmission. And it was available in a Highline trim level. What? Tiguan aren't actually that scary. This is a TDI engine. Now, the 2-litre TDI came in 3 states of tune. You had the 81 kilowatt, which was mated to sort of 6-speed manual, and then you had 105 kilowatt or 130 kilowatt. Those high engines were actually all-wheel drive, 4Motion, and they were mated to 7-speed DSGs. They also came in Comfortline or Highline. The higher output engines were 4Motion, all-wheel drive, and you get 105 kilowatts or 130 kilowatts. Both were mated to a 7-speed DSG, and you can get them in Comfortline and Highline trim levels. Now, in August of 2018, VWSA quietly introduced a 1.4-litre Trendline model, which was also mated to a DSG transmission. In 2019, the Tiguan became Volkswagen's top-selling model. That means it surpassed the Golf and Polo, despite only being in its 2nd generation. Now let's talk about the Tiguan's strengths, because there are many. I'm going to start with my favorite, which is the practicality and space. Now, this version was longer, bigger, wider than the previous model. In fact, the wheelbase was longer by 77 millimeters. That meant that you got more space in here. Then you got a 40-20-40 split here, which these seats move forward and back. Isn't that cool? That meant that your boot space would open up to 615 liters. Put all these seats down and you're getting 1,655 liters. Now, the All-Space obviously gave you even more space, obviously, with 700 liters in the boot and then opening up to 1,775 liters. Quite massive. And I think every parent would agree that, again, the more space, the better. The ISOFIX here, easy for children's seats to get in and out of. So I just think overall, this is what parents and families are looking for in a family car. But let's go and check out what is happening in the front of the cabin. The second is cabin build quality and layout. Now, the exterior of the Tiguan was obviously really good looking, but what was more impressive was the interior. It was built on the same as the Golf 7, which was almost near perfect. And I think with this mix of really great build qualities, it gave almost premium brands a bit of a run for their money. Number 3, there is an engine for everybody. You've got the 1.4 TSI engines, which are the more affordable. Then you had the 2-liter TSI, which is obviously the more performance-based one at 162 kilowatts. And then the diesel engine seemed to offer a bit more va-va-voom with frugality. And I'd say the 105 kilowatt engine was probably the sweet spot, because you could still get to 9.5 seconds, which was still okay for a family car, but it also only sipped on 6.1 liters per 100 Ks. With any pre-owned car, we've got to look at some of the weaknesses. Thankfully, GetWorth obviously supplied us with an almost near perfect car. So none of these you're going to probably have to worry about, but it is worth mentioning just in case you are looking elsewhere for your Tiguan. Now, number 1 is the R-kit and suspension. Now, it might look amazing and we all love an R-line kit, but with the 19-inch alloy wheels and the sport suspension, it can make for a really firm ride. But my suggestion would be drive one with it on, drive one without the kit on, and you make your decision. If it doesn't bother you, then it's not going to be a weakness. Now, this is a no-issue manual, but we're going to talk about the reliability or lack thereof of the DSG, or some of them. Now, there was a dry clutch, a DQ200 DSG transmission that did cause some problems, but that was never offered in this generation of Tiguan, so you don't have to worry about that. By all accounts, the DQ500 was the most reliable. You found that in the 2-liter TSI and TDI models. But it is just worth noting that maybe when taking a car for a test drive, if it's got a DSG, just check how that transmission behaves, because you never know, they can just sometimes be prone to certain issues. Number 3 is a leaky sunroof. Now, this car thankfully doesn't have a sunroof, but overseas and local complaints were the same, that some cars had water leaking into them because of some drainage blockage in the seals of the sunroof. Now, it's kind of an easy thing to figure out, I guess. If you get into the car, look for some damp, and of course, maybe give it a good whiff. And if there's a strong damp smell, you know that maybe that sunroof was a little bit leaky. For more information on any of the engines that were possibly problematic within the Tiguan range, click on the link above and look in the description below, because we're going to lay it out all for you. Chura has described it completely and comprehensively in his buyer's guide video on the Tiguan. So you've got all the information you need before you make a buying decision. So what is the pick of the range? Well, like I've said, there is pretty much a model for everybody. If you're looking at medium to long-term ownership, then something like the 2-liter TDI is probably going to be your safest bet. If you're looking for frugality, then look at the 81 kilowatt engine. It's mated to that manual transmission and sips just 5.1 liters per 100 Ks. Then, if you're going to do short trips only, maybe stay away from the diesels, get a petrol, because you don't want any issues with that clogging. And then, if you want that softer suspension, then maybe stay away from the R-Line kit. But like I said earlier, rather just drive one with the kit on if you love the look, and then drive one without it, and then you can make the decision yourself. Guys, if you're looking for the pricing of parts, pause the video now, because we're going to put up a table with all the information that you need from both OEMs and third parties. So pause it now. But let's talk about the verdict. Guys, there's no getting around it. Car pricing of new cars has skyrocketed over the past few years. So the prospect of buying a Mark II Tiguan pre-facelift even is quite an attractive concept, I'd say. If you can maybe save a little bit of extra money and get an earlier year model, low mileage, well maintained, I don't think you can go wrong. Especially when you consider that the Tiguan remains Volkswagen's best-selling vehicle.
Cars.co.za.
Are you busy trying to decide between 2 cars, 3 cars, 4 cars, 5 cars, 6 cars, and getting absolutely lost in all of the specs and all of the different pricing? Well, we have an excellent compare tool on our main website and in our app for you to use. It's very detailed, it's very slick and quick and efficient, and I highly recommend it. I use it all the time when I'm doing research for our car shoots. So check it out. We'll put the link in the description below and tell us what you think. Tell us if it helped you out.